What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Armchair Army podcast. I am so happy to have you guys with me today. We are riding solo today, so we are going to talk some football, some college football as well, just going into the Heisman as the least watched Heisman Trophy ceremony ever as Baker Mayfield wins it, and then also some Seahawks, some Mariners outlook, and then we'll go into a little bit of bowl, and college basketball is in full swing, so we'll get a little bit of preview from the regional team, so don't miss that. But without further ado, let's roll. All right, let's get started here, everybody. So first off, we have just a little bit of news, I guess. So from football, this Sunday is some regional football. This Sunday, the Seahawks were playing in Jacksonville and playing the Jaguars, and they lost to the Jags, which was a very, very poor performance. Honestly, the Jags are not that bad, which is kind of surprising, but good for the Seahawks since they played awful. I really can't make any excuses for the Seahawks team, but even worse, the way that the Seahawks act when they're losing, when they lose, is just absolutely embarrassing. Michael Bennett rolling on the center, not trying to injure players, but just acting like a goon, man. Like, these players are out here playing hard for 60 minutes, and for this sort of thing to happen, it seems like every time the Seahawks lose a game or are losing in a game, it's so old to me. And this happened in the Super Bowl when the Seahawks, when the Patriots were in victory formation and the Seahawks started to fight at the end of the game. It's just the sore loser part that I can't handle as a Seahawks fan, and I wish it would go away, honestly, immediately. And I love Michael Bennett as a player. I absolutely hate him as a person. It just seems like every turn and every event that Michael Bennett can be just an absolute shithead at, he is. And I cannot stand that. So as a Seahawks fan and as for the whole fan base, I can honestly say, Michael Bennett, clean it up, be a man, go out there, take your loss, and play better, honestly. Get on the plane, go home, and go and win some games. So the Seahawks are actually still in the thick of things. They are 8-5 now, and they are playing I believe they are playing the Rams here in the next couple of weeks. And they do play the Rams next week. And this game is huge because if whoever wins this game is the front runner for the NFC West, which is going to be huge, especially with Carson Wentz going down and tearing his ACL. Prayers out to Carson Wentz on a speedy recovery. That's awful for Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles, but I hate to say it, it's good for the rest of the NFC as Carson Wentz was having an MVP-type year. But that's going to be it for my NFL talk. I actually wanted to speak briefly about some college football. We're getting into bowl season here, and the first thing that I want to talk about was the Heisman Trophy. So the least watched Heisman Trophy ceremony ever, and people were bashing it because of the least watched Heisman Trophy ceremony ever, but quite honestly, everybody knew what was going to happen, right? I mean, Baker Mayfield was going to win it. Lamar Jackson was going to come in second. Bryce Love, great year, going to come in third. So I really don't know what people were expecting out of this Heisman Trophy ceremony and why people are freaking out that people weren't watching it. What were they supposed to watch? I mean, everybody saw Baker Mayfield's speech at the end. You saw the highlights of it, and we're good. Everybody, I mean, I think we gave the Heisman to Baker Mayfield 3 weeks ago. So I don't see any problem with people not watching the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Good for Baker Mayfield. I'm a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. I get his on-field antics are sometimes annoying and obnoxious, but overall, Baker Mayfield's a hell of a football player, and I wish him the best going into the NFL next year. But that is briefly what I'm going to talk about in college football. But A lot of football going on here in the bowls. Starting up, the Vegas Bowl is this Saturday. Boise State and Oregon square off in Las Vegas Bowl, and that should be really, really fun to watch. They're pretty evenly matched up. I hear Royce Freeman is probably not going to play in that bowl game, which is huge for Boise State since they are going in as the underdogs. And quite honestly, they shouldn't even be close in this game. But if Royce Freeman's out, and then also because Taggart is left, it's leaving Oregon in a little bit of a disarray. And I heard they didn't even practice last week at all, which is kind of concerning. But Boise State should definitely win this game. It's one of those games that, of course, Boise State should win, but they're probably going to play awful. So I'm excited for the bowl game, though. Bowl season's awesome. It's festive. The Bulls are going on. College football is on everywhere. College basketball is going. It's just one of those great time of the year. It's next to Christmas, so you'll see a lot of NBA talk as well. Just nearing Christmas and the Christmas Day games with Golden State and Cleveland squaring off, and hopefully Steph is healthy for that game. But that is going to be it for my NFL and college football. Little NBA talk in there as well. We're actually going to get up to our segments here. So first off, we got the Regional Roundup, so let's roll.
Regional Roundup.
All right, the Regional Roundup here is actually going to be mainly college basketball here. So as college football comes to an end, and college football with WSU in the Holiday Bowl against Michigan State, we previewed last week on Friday, and then Boise State in Las Vegas Bowl, Washington in the Fiesta Bowl, and, of course, Oregon playing Boise State. We did our Regional Roundup there. But this is coming to a close for college football, which opens up new doors here for college basketball and the Regional Roundup to get started with college basketball. So first ever college basketball Regional Roundup. I'm really excited for this just because I love college basketball. And I know people really don't care about college basketball until March, but these games are really fun to watch, especially with the tournament at the beginning of the season. I can't stress enough how important these games are for teams. I mean, going in the PK80 was absolutely awesome. Double overtime game against with Gonzaga. That was super fun to watch. Although they got a loss in that game, it was crazy fun to watch. And all of those games are super competitive with the top teams in the country. So I look forward to seeing those in the next couple of years. But we're going to start off our Regional Roundup in my hometown, Gonzaga. Gonzaga just put a absolute whooping on UW, and they went to Washington, and they were playing in Seattle. They won 97-70 and absolutely rolled over Washington after coming off a loss to Villanova, who is number 1 in the country now. And they didn't play well against Villanova, but they played them close. So it's getting to the point where Gonzaga, you feel like they can make a deep run in the tournament, but they need a couple of playmakers to emerge here and to get a little bit healthier. I know that their guards were nicked up a bit, so they didn't play the full minutes, but Gonzaga, again, a really fun team to watch this year, and I'm excited to see what they have moving forward. Going to Boise State. Boise State starts off the season 9-1. The boys in Boise, it sounds like they have a team. Leon Rice has put together an absolute squad. Chandler Hutchison is playing the best he's played all his career. He declared for the draft last year, didn't sign an agent, came back to school. I'm really excited to see what he has the rest of the year if he can stay healthy. I know he got hurt in the tournament, the Puerto Rico tournament that actually happened to be in South Carolina, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the country. He's on the Wooden Award watch list. I'm excited for him. I'm really excited for Boise State moving forward. They haven't had a playmaker like Hutchison in a long time, so really excited for Boise State. 9-1, they play GCU here this Wednesday, so that should be a great game. But really, really pumped for the Boise State Broncos to see what they have moving forward and see if they're legit. On the flip side, WSU and the Cougars, 6-3, and they're coming off a loss to Idaho and a loss to UTEP. So not starting out the season very good, but Ernie Kent, I have this random belief in Ernie Kent. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. I really don't. But I just have this belief that Ernie Kent can put together a squad. They have the athletes, it looks like. They have high flyers, and it would be a really, really fun team to watch if they could make a deep run. But I don't know if I believe in Ernie Kent's team quite yet. And their loss to UTEP's really bad. Their loss to Idaho's really bad. But I feel like they can turn it around. I just have this weird inkling that Ernie Kent can turn that program around. I know they don't have an athletic director right now, and he should be a little worried only because Ernie Kent's probably the first to go if the AD steps in there with how bad the Cougars have been in their recent years. But Ernie Kent's recruited well to Pullman. Mike Leach has recruited well, so both their jobs should be safe. I'm glad Mike Leach didn't take any other offers from schools like Tennessee. So that's a good sign for the Cougs moving forward. But WSU, Boise State, Gonzaga, all starting off the season with winning records. Gonzaga beat University of Washington, like I said, 97-70, and UW is no chumps. They beat number 2 Kansas last week, and they look really, really good. Kansas, although they played probably their worst game they'll play all season, it was really refreshing to see a good UW squad beat up on a top 5 team. So I was happy for them, but that is going to be my regional roundup, and that we are going to move to some chair talk, one of my favorite segments here. So without further ado, let's go.
Chair Talk.
We are going to get started with Chair Talk here, and the first thing that I want to bring up for Chair Talk, and the person that's in my chair this week, I was either going to go with Jefferson or Michael Bennett from Seattle, but I'm actually going to switch gears. I'm going to go with Pete Carroll, and I have been a huge Pete Carroll supporter, so this kind of pains me to do this, but Pete Carroll predominantly lets his players do what they want, which can be great. Personality-wise, Seattle is always a city where you need personalities because the teams usually aren't very good. So personality is great, drawing fans, stuff like that. It's always fun to watch. I've always loved Richard Sherman. Went to Stanford, very intellectual dude, and although he comes off as a huge a-hole sometimes, I'm glad that he can rein it in and be one of the best cornerbacks in the league when he's healthy. But Pete Carroll, you are in the chair this week. And I say this because you, when things go bad, cannot control your team. Michael Bennett doing what he did on Sunday, and Jefferson almost going into the stands. Although the one thing I will say in that case, when you get beer poured on you and you get things thrown at you, I say that you put them in a cage and let them hash it out themselves. But regardless, this is on you, Pete. And as much as I love you, dude, you got to control your team. Get them off the field, get them on the plane, get them back to Seattle. Let's play football. They're there for one reason only, and to let it get that out of hand where players are getting ejected, when people are in the victory formation, when people are in fear of getting hurt, that should not be Seahawks football. And unfortunately, it's starting to become the brand of Seahawks football that I've seen over the past couple of years. With the Patriots game, with multiple games across a couple of years with Michael Bennett, and they've got this bad boy reputation that I'm starting to absolutely hate. And I love the Seahawks team. I mean, Bobby Wagner, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Russell Wilson, probably some of the most likable dudes in the NFL. What really? Russell Wilson goes to the Children's Hospital every Tuesday. Cam Chancellor goes back to Virginia almost every single week to give back. Earl Thomas is one of the biggest Texas supporters there is. I mean, it's just to have this amount of good people on your team and still be looked upon as the bad boys, that has to be a head coaching problem. That has to be one of the things that Pete has to control, and he's not doing it. Pete Carroll, you were in the chair this week. You're my boy, but you have to have the Seahawks team rein it in. You're also 8-5, so you got to figure out when things go wrong, you can't take your ball and go home. This is the National Football League. You are professional athletes. You're a professional football head coach. Act like it. You're in the chair this week, and that is going to be it for me. So we are going to get out of here a little early today, but We are going to be back on Friday, hopefully with my boys Brandon Keba and Ben McPherson, and they're going to talk some baseball and some winter meetings, what to expect after the Mariners lose out on Ohtani, and what to expect moving forward with D. Gordon being in addition to the Mariners, and what to expect during the season as well. I'm really excited for that episode, but thank you guys for listening. Please go subscribe, go rate this podcast if you can, but I'm very, very happy with all the downloads that I have gotten over the past couple of months. You guys have been awesome supporters. I can't thank you guys enough. Until Friday, we will see you then. Have a great rest of your week.